So everyone, hey everyone, we'll run the intro just a little bit, but I felt like we should put on screen a little bit because we were talking about scams and about how people fall for crypto scams all the time. And so what you're saying about like people putting in their phone number or whatever, like it's a very high likelihood that people will do that if they're prompted.
Yeah, so it's not necessarily just crypto. It's if they get your phone number, you'll get a call from like an AI that is perfectly sounding for someone you're related to or whatever. It typically targeting elderly, so it would be like they would get your or my phone number and then target our family or something like that. And it's only 1 in 10 people have like received a call like that, but 77% of them fell for it. Which was, I think it was like a week or two ago, they put out some like study or some like survey that they did, and that was the results. I mean, might not be a huge sample size, but still, any like that's going to be the most like sophisticated scams that people are going to be seeing now, and that's just something you got to be mindful of. And a way to get around that is to never use your public phone number and have like a something like my pseudo or a VoIP number
Yeah.
that you use for everything, and then you're not going to get contacted by those people in the first place. That's the easy way. The harder way is like you need a safe word with your family that if you're like, hey, I need money, I'm in trouble, they go, what's the safe word? And then if you don't know it, then they're like, yeah, that's not really you. The simple one is you hang up and call right back, but usually they try to create an urgency where they're like, I'm calling from my friend's phone, it's at 1%. I'm going to send you an email, send money to this right now. My phone's, and then they cut out the call. And then
Yeah. I guess if like it is an actual, like if it were an actual like hostage type situation, they'd find a way to call you back to get the money. So, but generally speaking, because they could spoof the outbound call, but not the inbound one. And so I have received some scammy calls before and then they're like, oh, call us now, your account, this and that, all that kind of stuff. And then they give you the number to call us back at this number. And then I just like go and look up the actual company's number, like raw, and just go call them instead and say, hey, did you guys just call me? They're like, no. I'm like, thanks. So there's that. As far as the number stuff, I think that's very critical because, I don't even know my own phone number, so don't ask. And I only use VoIP numbers, and the only reason paid with crypto, anon, whatever. And the only reason I do that is because boomer people keep on trying to use them to contact me. Honestly, all it's like messaging apps is almost all I use. I don't really, I never use a phone number unless some old person, like my grandmother, needs to be talked to. But then also, and never use my phone number if I can help it for 2FA type things. It's the worst. Mm-hmm. So what
SIM swap is what the danger is too. Like it's the much more serious thing is that people can call your service provider and be like, hey, like I lost my phone, I need to switch and da-da-da-da. And if they know some basic information about you, they might be able to like trick them into, answering like, what's your date of birth and, stuff like that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. That's the thing. So I don't use phone numbers at all. Like, again, the VoIP number is just for when people need it. And I personally like physical security keys because otherwise you have to use like either some sort of trusted TOTP app, like a Google Authenticator, Authy or whatever, or there's something like Aegis is a open source one. But still, I like the physical security keys because someone has to like rob your person to do it. Yeah. And it's also super intuitive to just like you stick it into your phone, you stick it into your USB port on your computer, tap it, and you're good. And so that plus the phone number thing, I think helps just in the vast majority of cases. A lot of services do want a phone number before signing up, and like Coinbase, for example. And I think that's, some of that's like bad security practice type things. But a lot of it is they use it as sort of a KYC light to make sure, not KYC light, but like a proof of person where you can't spoof that. And then VoIP numbers don't always work. In those cases, there's a couple companies called Text Verified is one, and Juicy SMS is another that will let you rent a one-time real SMS number for verification. and your get in. As soon as you get in, you can change that or change your 2FA to like something better once you create that. But the privacy rabbit hole is huge, but hopefully we just start to evolve these practices more generally where people like don't have a phone number that can be SIM swap as their primary thing, or use a different SIM card or whatever, and just start evolving these practices so that like, you don't get wrecked,
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, there's so much around your phone number that can be, used against you. So it's the simplest thing is just use VoIP as much as possible. And it's fairly inexpensive. So it's definitely worth paying that small amount rather than, dealing with, I mean, the amount of things that people pay money for, this is definitely worth paying for.
Yes. And like Google Voice doesn't charge necessarily. They do have a paid version, but there are free VoIP numbers you can use if that's what you got to do. I would do that. Not to mention like you get your phone calls on your data on your phone or also on your computer. Just makes sense.
Yeah.
But the whole like theft thing kind of reminds me, there have been a few people who've been high profile about this in crypto. And I'm sure I've told this a bunch of times on the podcast, but I might as well do it again because I think it's a great PSA. I think Nicole, Nerd Girl, has been open about she got hacked like last year and got a bunch of crypto stolen. And the same attack style went after Ruben of Firo, went after Justin Bonds of Cyber Capital, went after a bunch of relatively high profile people I know. And the whole scam is like they impersonate, including actually hacking into the X account of some big publication like the New York Post or Cointelegraph. Those were two of the ones they got into, and just said, hi, we'd like to interview. And then they set up like an elaborate, convincing interview where you on like a Zoom call, and there's some weird vulnerability in Zoom, I believe it, or I think Microsoft Teams had another one too, where they're able to do some like custom thing where basically you're talking to them, and then at some point they're like, oh yeah, can you just share your screen real quick for something? And then when you go to share your screen, it doesn't share the screen, it asks your computer for root access instead. And so when it asks for root access, then there's a password comes up, and then they just like, oh, don't worry about it, just enter that real quick. And because you're on this like 40 minutes deep in this like interview and you go do that, there's like pressure to do this kind of stuff. It's like under pressure where you can't be like, why do you need root access? You just don't want to seem rude or mess up the interview. And then they just pressure you. And then once they get the root access, they go right for like your MetaMask and just, oh, you got a bunch of money in there? It's drained, and just like get you. Someone tried to do this to me a few months ago, but we didn't get as far as in the actual like Zoom link. Like it just, the other thing is use Linux whenever you can, because prevents just random Trojans from being put in there, gives you a lot more control over what permissions you give to what. And same thing with like a tight OS like Graphene OS for your phone or something like that that's like open source and secure. You don't get these little things embedded, and it's not that hard to just, let's just say, use security keys, use Graphene, use Linux, don't use VoIP numbers, don't give out your real phone number, and that's it. And just doing that,
the funny thing is though,
it's
just
not
saying,
that much of it.
Just doing that sounds really easy for someone like me and you, but to everyone else, they're like, just that? I don't even know where to start. Like, this is like, you know what I mean? Like we sort of like simplify it, but for most people, like probably most people don't do even one of those things, let alone like,
Absolutely.
have security cameras or like properly bolt their doors, like.
Yeah. You know what I found is that like all these steps, because I went down the privacy rabbit hole a year or two ago. Naomi Brockwell has been a great help with a lot of that stuff. Her channel is amazing for all that. The pain in the ass is figuring it out, which again, if someone else figures it out for you, it's not as big of a pain. And the other pain in the ass is setting up your life, where it's like, oh, I got to set up my email and like Proton. I got to get Proton Mail, but then they have those single-use email alias things. Those aren't really so much of a security thing as they're a privacy thing. As much as Naomi would freak out at me, I'd say those are like disposable. Like you don't need those, but like they're good to have, but you don't need those anyway. But once you get everything set up where you got your security keys, you install Graphene, you install Linux, and you have a VoIP number set up, then everything else is autopilot. Then your life is 98% the same as everyone else. It's just that hump. Get over that hump. And again, also the random person, don't be an idiot. Just don't be an idiot. Don't give out money. Don't send money. Ask if that's really your friend. Like, contact someone else. Just don't be an idiot and you won't lose money. These more advanced security things are probably if you are somebody, whether you're an important person in an organization or whether you have some kind of money you want to safeguard, or that's not just trivial, especially if it's in crypto. Then you should do this bare minimum kind of stuff that it might be difficult for everyone. But for everyone else, just don't be a dumb boomer. Think about what a dumb boomer would do and don't do that. And that will safeguard you from 90% of the stuff, Like, ask a question. Why do I need to share my screen? Why do I need to put my password in? What happens there? And like, just ask a couple things and they'll save you.
Yeah. I mean, a lot of the times, well, actually 95% of the time, it's just social engineering. Like, people aren't getting hacked. Because when people say like someone was hacked, the average person is imagining in their mind like someone's like typing away and it's like, oh, they cracked it. It's like, no, I mean, 95% of the time it's like you open an email and you click the link, or someone tricks you or something, like social engineering. And yeah, so I mean, so the real like defense against any of this is just educating yourself, by far. Like no amount of like programs and security will like make you know who is trying to trick you. Like, you have to like develop that over time, I guess. And as you said, partly common sense, but most people fall for these things, as we're finding out. So I guess it's more about just like educating yourself that it even exists and then going from there. Because if that most people fall for a fake phone call, at the very minimum you're like, okay, now at least I'm on alert that if I get a weird phone call, I'm like, well, most people fall for this, so I'm not going to like pretend like. I think the big problem is actually being like, not knowing how many people fall for it, and then being like, oh, well, I'm smart. No one's going to trick me with some AI phone call. I obviously know what my friend sounds like, or, they have a specific way how we speak, and he didn't start the conversation by saying, yo, what's up, like he normally does. It's like, you would not think about that in an urgent situation where they're like, my house is on fire and so part of it is just knowing that most people fall for it, and like that's at the very least like preparing you for that.
Yeah, it's not that hard to just ask a couple follow-up questions, just because memorizing these things might be difficult. But if you're just like, don't give people money. It's like someone asks for something, like you go to the grocery store and they're like, hey, can I have what's your email and phone number? You just like, why do I need to give that to you? Just like ask that basic thing. So before he gets, spammed constantly. Or, hey, do you want to donate whatever cents to this? And then it could be, it could be some kind of like a terrorist missile fund for all you know. Like, ask, like have a follow-up question, or like, then there's of course some basic things in life, like don't loan people money unless you expect to never see it again, especially if it's, and unless you're like, don't kill your friendship. If this will kill a friendship, if they never pay you back, don't loan it to them, for example.
Right.
Just basic things like that. I think that, on the other hand, the cynic in me understands that the way the world works is there are lions and there's gazelles, and there's a lot of gazelles out there. And the reason they get
lions are already listening to the podcast, so we need to reach the other people.
Yes, you need to reach the gazelles, but there's a certain point where, like, a lot of times you tell people, "No, you remember, do this, do that." Oh, okay, and then they go and just do something dumb anyway, and just like, okay, well, there's only you can try your best.
I think that's 95% of the time.
Yes. Well, there are a lot of gazelles out there, right? I mean, there's a reason for that.
I think I would say maybe 10 out of 10 when someone comes to me and says, there's this crypto, XRP or Doge or Solana, like I want to invest in it. What do you think? Like, I've never invested in crypto. I don't know anything. What are your thoughts? And I go, absolutely whatever you do, do not buy that. They come to
And
me next week and they're like, yeah, so I put like, a chunk of my life savings. And I'm like, yeah, sounds about right. That's usually what happens.
that's XRP, the cab driver's crypto of choice. That
Yeah.
happened to me in Vegas not too long ago. Had an Uber from the airport to the hotel. I'm like, oh, like crypto. Oh, yeah. What do you think about XRP? I hear it's like the banks are going to use it. And I'm just like, oh, God. Oh, God. And it's
The
like, you can't.
biggest lie
Yeah.
ever told. Oh my
Yeah.
God. And let me touch on that real quick in case we didn't get into that last time. But Ripple, like the company, does interbank transfers, but the cryptocurrency is not involved literally at all. So that is the biggest lie ever told, that like Ripple is for interbank transfers. It's like, yeah, Ripple Labs, not XRP. And that's like, yeah, that's crazy marketing. But every cab driver, every Uber driver is like Solana, XRP, and Doge. And almost always, like if I say, hey, are you into crypto? They go, oh yeah, have you bought the new meme coin? And I go, no. Like,
Yes. It's funny because that's like the intellectual, and we'll roll the intro just a second here. It's been rambling for a while, but that's like the strata is like top tier shitcoiner is like those. And like,
yeah,
that's like the top strata of like, just, nothing except that crypto exists and you're going to lose money. There's
Yeah.
that. Then the next level is, I don't know anything, but like Bitcoin's safe. That's the only one I'm going to buy, which is a very dumb perspective. Unfortunately, it's turned out to be financially correct a lot of times as well. So there's two sides to that dumbness.
I recommend that to most people. Like, and
It's
worked,
unfortunately like it's for people who won't do real research. That's like the way you got to go, unfortunately. And then the next level,
but that's
down,
like most people for investing
Yes.
in stocks too, right? Like,
yeah, it's the
Yeah.
S&P 500 coin, right?
yeah,
Kind
and they're
of
like,
thing.
oh, what about all these penny stocks? And you go, please God, please do not buy penny stocks. And they go, yeah, I put a chunk of my life savings into penny stocks. And you're like, what is going on? But that doesn't usually
Yes.
happen as much. But I used to have friends who were like that too, where they were just doing penny stocks, and then crypto came into their purview, and then they were like, oh, memes. And I was like, yeah, that's unfortunate.
Yeah, just shiny item. Can't resist.
Yeah. Yeah.
There's always
I can buy 1,000,000 of it.
yeah,
That always gets people. That's literally the hook, line, and sinker.
it's dumb. So you got the top, which is the three, the XRP, Doge, Solana / meme coin Solana thing. That's like peak dumb. The oddly enough, like almost peak dumb. Oh, Bitcoin's the only good one, but does work out, unfortunately. And then below that, then there's just like literally almost any other coin. It's like, oh, you know something. Okay, you're into like, I don't know, like Stellar. Let's just say, oh, that I haven't heard that one in a while. Okay, or just one of those kinds of things. And then there's the next one, which is your crypto expert OG, which you're into all or some of the hardcore utility ones that will never pump and will leave you penniless, which might be myself. I don't know. So like that's kind of like that level. So that's like the crypto pyramid of investing right there.
It's more like those people. I mean, the irony is those people probably have the most money, though, out of a lot of the investors.
Not me, but the others.
yeah. But and not necessarily from investing, just like in general in crypto. Like, you're at least not like, I mean, like my buddy, he could have made 700,000 on a pre-sale. But then he like missed it because he's just invested in everything. So then he comes 3 days later to check on how it's going, and it's down to like 90K, and he's like, holy shit, and he just sells it. He still made like 90x or like 200 or 180x or something. Like, he didn't put very much money. But he's like fucked up that he like had $700,000. And
Yes. And then you get at the finally like the very smallest bit is like the god tier degen, where you, like my buddy who made 10K profit buying the USDC dip. Do you remember when USDC dipped to like 80 some cents for like a second? You know
Yeah.
how much money you have to throw in there to buy the USDC dip to where you
Yeah.
make a tidy 10K profit? I mean, I'm like, dude, that is incredible. I could never be that guy. That's
No,
incredible.
that's so degen. That's
But it
crazy.
worked. I mean, it was. He just said, "Oh yeah, I knew it was going to go back up. I just knew everyone was panicking over nothing, so I just bought." And I'm just like, he was up
Yeah.
late trying to like get into his wallets in time to like
That's
buy it,
wild.
and he got it. But yeah, let's hit the intro on this thing finally and get
Yeah,
officially
yeah.
started. Right, go. So hey everyone, welcome officially now finally 20 minutes, 25 minutes into this thing. Welcome to the Digital Cash Rundown episode 193. I'm joined by the illustrious ambassador of the Canadian crypto scene, Scott Cunningham, aka Scott C Business. How's it going, man?
It's going good. We that was probably our longest preamble show ever.
Longest pre-sale, eh? Yeah, so we kind of started rambling on just random degen thing, but the kind of bit of the topic of the hour is the a little bit of the well. First of all, we know each other for many years. I'm actually all over the place. Let me just do the freaking Coin ATM Radar ad read and then just move on from there.
All right.
Let's just go on that one. All right. Here we go. So, this podcast is very proudly sponsored by Coin ATM Radar. When buying crypto for cash, ATM is much safer and more reliable than meeting some random person in a random place. And unlike an exchange, which does tend to freeze your account sometimes, especially if you buy with no KYC and they decide to retroactively hit KYC on you after the fact and hold your money hostage, like has happened to so many people. Unlike that, you could truly own all the crypto you buy with an ATM. With Coin ATM Radar, you could find crypto ATMs and other services where you can buy or sell cryptocurrencies for cash. On the website, you can search by coin, their address. If the ATM supports selling as well as buying, and of course, selling matters much more to me because I don't have cash to buy with. And you can also search by geographical area, such as country, state, and city. And you can compare actual current fees across different ATMs. Find out more, go to coinatmradar.com, which is coinatmradar.com. And they haven't been as spicy on X lately, but they're good people. So as I was trying to say before we got into that stuff, we know each other for a long time, but we finally met in person
Yeah.
in Toronto at the Consensus Conference, also known as StableCon 2025, right?
Yeah. It was just stable coins and regulation.
Yes. And I have to say, the funny part about that, the blockchain video booth was really good. The Acronym Foundation they had these NFC burner cards. They loaded some stablecoin on there, and then you could tap and pay at a bunch of different terminals in that little strip mall they made. Supposedly, they said they got like 1,100 people paying with crypto during Consensus, which is it's a lot of people, especially that's 1 out of 20 people at Consensus probably. That's not that bad. It's like that's like 5% of the entire conference, and it's a big conference. So they were great, and I like the Swap Kit folks because obviously they have Thorchain and Maya Protocol and all the other stuff. Other than that, it was just stablecoin, regulation, Amazon AWS, Google, all those lovely people. And then I have to say though, we went to the Uphold after party, which is pretty decent. But the best one was the Stellar after party. It was stellar, as some might say. But it was some.
I was gonna ask you how the other stuff went since I was only there day one.
I think that's the only one I went to. Other than that, I think I just went home early one night, and then the Stellar one was like at the top of. It was like the little penthouse kind of area, like the top balcony thing, with some good craft cocktails and other stuff. And yeah, it was good. And I didn't
Nice.
party too hard. Other than that, that was like until midnight and then go home kind of thing. But yeah, I don't know where they get all their money. Like, I guess because Stellar is an XRP fork, right?
Oof, I could not tell you, but Stellar is old. They've been around since yeah, like XRP times. Yeah.
I'm pretty sure it's an XRP fork, and I know the same criticisms people give of the XRP network do also seem to apply with Stellar, where it's like
Mm.
the same centralized ish structure where you have like the same list, but the XRP deal where you have, as you mentioned, the divorce between the actual ledger itself and then what the company does. And I haven't heard that with Stellar. I think Stellar actually just uses the network itself. Like that's their.
Right.
So in that way, I guess they're more righteous
But
than
they don't.
XRP.
But they don't claim to do like interbank transfers or anything like that, right?
No, they do a lot of stable coins and remittances and stuff like that, but like on their actual network. So it's very
Right.
similar, but not necessarily that they're claiming all these big banks use us. I think that their usage is actually like real.
Right.
I know that in Zipto, which we'll go into later, they have a MoneyGram, I believe, service in there where you can convert your crypto or get a stable coin and pick up cash at places close to you. And I think that's done through Stellar. I think that's what they said. So like they are doing some financial rail stuff, but it's not the interbank stuff.
Yeah.
But anyway, that's Stellar, in a nutshell. So let's hit on the breaking news type thing. That's less maybe less sexy to this whole thing, but just about the yesterday, I believe. Again, the days pass so quickly. There was some military strikes on Iran, probably from Israel, and the crypto markets dumped as a result. Like instantly, they dumped, and then they rebounded. I think they dumped again. I don't know. Are you a frequent chart watcher?
I do, but I mean, I will say that we've kind of been like bouncing around in the same bounds for the last like month or two. Like if
Yeah,
I look back in the last month, like we went up and then we kind of like came back down and then we went right back up again and then we came right back down. So, I mean, yes, it's a crash, but I guess we've been crashing consistently and then recovering and then crashing and recovering anyways. But yeah,
yeah. There was a pretty precipitous crash. Let's say, for example, the price of Bitcoin, or relatively, you could see on the chart goes doink yesterday, and then it's been since kind of recovering.
yeah,
Yeah, it's nothing too apocalyptic, but it is a dump. So it's just thankfully a minor dump. But as I mentioned, I did a little post on that. That's not doing too bad right now. It says crypto crashed over news of a potential war with Iran. It shouldn't have because it was made as a hedge against government and central bank power. But too many people use it as a cheap gambling tool. Bring back digital cash, even if it's just for the sake of your bags. So, yeah, basically, because these are always times when like the Peter Schiff victory lap happens, because uh, gold still tends to perform well in times of uncertainty, and crypto does not. Bitcoin does better than the others, I think, but it's still crypto as a whole does not. And so it's always the time when, you know,
I
you
guess
start,
part of the problem is like there's so much money in ETFs now that if you're selling out your stocks, that ends up hitting crypto too. Whereas it's like if I'm selling my stocks for some quick cash, I'm not also like grabbing my gold from the safe and then pawning it, you know?
yeah, I mean, there are gold ETFs, right? I think there are.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know how many people, when they say though, like, I invest in gold, do they mean like as a stock?
Hmm.
Maybe, but I feel like that's foolish if you're trying to invest in gold as like a hedge. But yeah.
Yeah. So I mostly like, for example, the transaction volumes across crypto networks do not, in my opinion, justify the collective market cap of crypto in general. Like, there's just not a lot. It's not like no one uses it. I mean, there's plenty of people who use it. It's a proverbial no one uses it, and I think that once, like, no one's going to be like, oh, dump your grocery money because someone bombed. Like, no, people are going to still buy their stuff if they were using
Right.
this, right? So I think that that's kind of like, you know, you check the other stock markets. Did other stocks dump, like for like Amazon and stuff like that?
It's a good question.
And also, it's like stocks. It's not like Amazon orders took a dip. People kept buying stuff, you know?
That's a good point. I mean, the SP 500 was down yesterday, so maybe. I mean, Bitcoin is kind of correlated with stocks, unfortunately, still, but I feel like it's less and less correlated. But yeah, it's still pretty correlated. So naturally, it tends to ebb and flow in the same direction, but not soon. I'm hoping Bitcoin's gonna do its big bounce along with the cycle. So I'm hoping it's this year, but we'll see with everything going on.
Yeah, it could be. It depends on how much other uncertainty, and that's the thing. It's like the Trump administration sort of set the stage for an epic crypto year, but at the same time, it's been tons of uncertainty in the early part of the year, whether chaos here or there, there's riots, and then there's the tariff thing. Will there be a deal? Will there not be? Oh, new tariff. Wait, we're going to remove it. And then like very recently, like yesterday, I think, there was some mass deportation stuff has caused a lot of like farms to complain that they have no workers for their crops. And so now there's like a temporary pause on deporting farm workers or something like that. It's just like, okay, well then there's like, I'm sure food company stocks go down, but then, oops, never mind, back up. Like there's this the Trump effect seems to be like a, sell everything, wait, buy it back real quick kind of thing.
Yeah.
It's just very, like, it's almost like a dip buyers. You could definitely buy the USDC dip on that, if you know what I mean. It's like
he's just trying to make the entire market like crypto.
Yes, and kind of inoculate the space. But yeah, it is what it is. I hope things get better. But in the meantime, we do need to spend crypto on real things. So as far as like crypto spending tools and stuff, I have a few things put up there. But is there anything that has come to your attention in the last couple year or so that you think is really cool? Or that
most of what I've tested has been like a flop. Like all the Solana cards were the most promising thing I'd seen in a while, but they always got canceled within like a day or two and then refunded, and it was just kind of pointless. And then when I tried to actually like withdraw it, the networks were down or not letting me, and I couldn't get rid of it for a while. And that really soured me on Solana. But aside from that, I haven't seen a lot that is like new or super good in Canada, aside from the stuff that you've already got to cover, and bit refill, occasionally coin cards. Yeah, that's mostly what I've been using, those two. And then just like crypto ATMs.
First of all, do crypto ATMs want KYC in Canada from your experience, or is it always?
Yeah, well, it's KYC light. You need a phone number under $999, and over $1,000 is ID. So I just use my VoIP, $999, and then go to the next ATM.
So is that per ATM, or is that like an ATM network that they do that? Do you know? Like as far as like, let's say an operator.
I would imagine if you came and used the same number, maybe there'd be a problem, but I would just use a new number every time.
And do you like a new pseudonym or something like that?
Yeah, because otherwise, I'm not sure. If it was going based on your phone number, then that would be a lot more, like it'd be easier for them to like set some sort of restriction. But as far as I know, it's per ATM. I actually haven't tested it where I just try back to back to back and just at the same ATM. But I also feel like that's like the most suspicious thing to do, just standing at an ATM for like an hour, just withdrawing thousands of dollars. And it's also just like not a safe thing to do. So I haven't actually tried that, but that could be possible.
Yeah, I do have to check out the ATM scene a little bit more. Because I haven't used ATMs in a long time since September when I was in Croatia, because I had one of them shitcoins.club ones. And they don't do KYC at all. That's just kind of what they do. But like, I got to check. That's always in Europe that I see them. But the cashy parts of Europe, not like the proper places like the Netherlands, but like,
Right.
the wild parts of Europe. So as far as what I do need to do at some point is do some research into, I guess, like the legality of that kind of the KYC light gray area type thing, right? Because obviously, no KYC is just you just do whatever you want, right? And then KYC is you have to add your accurate info, and then they let you in. And the thing is like the in between part is like, well, is it just that they want to have some sort of a name and phone number on file in order to comply with
By the way,
regulations?
just a phone number. There's no name, nothing like that.
Okay. Well, is it they just have to have a phone number on file just in case,
It's
or
just to SMS, like verify that you're like a real person. Just type in the code that we send you.
so just like so they can't like because if they had a phone number, then if you just use the same phone number to get like over like $10,000, then they start to be like, now you need ID kind of thing.
Probably. Well, yeah. Because yeah, it's like the second you go over $999, it's like now we need an ID. So presumably it's phone number based. So if I just went to the next ATM, maybe it would say, "Oh, you just withdrew. Like now we need your ID." I would imagine that's how it works. Because if it was just per ATM, then yeah, I guess that would make less sense. But if you're just using a new number, regardless, it doesn't really matter. But yeah, I mean, each place sets their own rates too, so it's always important to like look up, on CoinRadar or whatever other website for looking up an ATM. You can see a lot of the times the different rates for the different cryptos because it's like, why would I pay 15% on Bitcoin when I can just convert it to Litecoin and it's 8%? So
Yeah, and so part of what I also want to know is like how much of that, like as far as the KYC light stuff, it's obvious why they're doing it is like the general idea is to prevent a single person from going over the limit, but also the real reason is because they're required to. Now, I guess my question is what on the consumer side is actually required by law? Like as far as is it, we don't check your ID, but you need your by penalty of perjury. You said that like if it's that kind of stuff, or is it just like no, it's all on them to do. So like, as in how much can you get busted for putting in like a fake name or something like that, and like getting
Well, I mean, luckily they don't
evidence?
ask for a name; they just say a working phone number, and technically, there's no. It doesn't say it must be registered to you, and it's like a VoIP number works, so they accept it. That might change if they stop accepting VoIP numbers. That would be less ideal, but currently that's not an issue. Usually that only happens with like subscription-based services like Netflix or something like that, where there'll be like no VoIPs.
Well, let me throw these up on the screen that I mentioned before, the temporary number services. Let me just make sure not showing anything off. So text verified, which is textverified.com, lets you rent a single use thing. So for example, it's funny, the top the top pinned one is Ashley Madison, which is that the infidelity dating site thing.
Wow.
And it's just like, okay, well, there's a reason why people don't want to attach their real phone number to that. It's literally then Cash App, Fidelity, Gmail, PayPal, Plenty of Fish on their dating site, all this kind of stuff. Telegram, WhatsApp, but then there's like an all others like service not listed here, where like for $1.25 for a single use. So potentially you could just do a single use SMS. It's a real SMS number and just use that for for an ATM service.
Right. Yeah.
And then
because it's not like we're using your number for. I mean, as far as I remember, it doesn't say like we need this as like information to like track you or to like contact you. It's just to receive and verify that you're a real person with this. It's like a CAPTCHA almost.
Yeah, and that'll work for that. And then Juicy SMS, also juicysms.com, is a competitor. It's just another one that does the same type of thing. So if you want to use those to get around, those kinds of things and keep your privacy, that's kind of the way to go. It is funny because it is interesting, I should say, because there are different categories of, like, at least in the card world, as far as like identification. So there are some cards that have like prepaid cards that have no name on it whatsoever. It's just like a cash voucher almost. Like you can bit refill is I'm going to get into in a second. Well, might as well just skip around to that one right now. I'm going to skip
That's the OG. That's what I pretty much always use.
Yeah, so bit refill. This is the US one is the best, unfortunately. And unfortunately, it's the one that works only in the US. They have a Visa Digital prepaid card that just asks for a name, not even an address, just a name to put on the card, which you could put a fake name. Doesn't matter. I've done it many times. You just add it to your Google Pay, whatever, can tap and pay, and you're good. What's interesting is they just came out with this other one, which is a physical one, where for $1.50, they will mail it to you. And of course, if you put your home address in, you're not getting a lot of privacy benefits from that. But if you have like a different PO box or something like that, you can get it there. And so if you're going to like live on crypto, if you have all your money in crypto, you can just buy the digital one as you need it, and then just burn it, like you spend it all and get a new one over and over again. And just also buy like, I guess like a maxed out, like a $500 whatever physical one, just to have in your pocket in case something doesn't work with a phone or whatever. You can need to swipe it or whatever. So that's like, and again, all that's completely anonymous, right? Your crypto is anonymous. This stuff is not tied to any real name or anything. Now, there are some restrictions of where that will work. And this is where we go into this first Zipto thing, right? Because Zipto has a lot of the same types of things in their cards. They have single load, reload, all the reloadable and things are all KYC, right? But the single load ones, I'm just going to click on this one. Yeah, their website kind of sucks though. But the single load ones, there's a few different types. Let me just pull this up on the USD's, whatever. The Swipe Global one, I really like this one, SWYPE, Swipe. Because it works worldwide, even though it's a US denominated one. It's a no KYC card, but you do have to put in a name and address and I think phone number. I don't know, no, or name, address, email, I think. And unlike the other ones, it will, if you have a fake sounding name, it'll reject it. Like you have to come up with something that sounds like a real person's name. But the important part is it does have 3DS, which means it's kind of like 2FA for your card, which oddly enough, the Coinbase card, which is about as KYC and bank-like as you get, does not have that. So if you go online in especially Europe, because this is mandated by law in Europe, by the way, is 3DS, which means if you are making an online purchase, you need to have some sort of a 2FA type thing, which is called 3D Secure 3DS on there. So I tried to buy a ticket to a train out of Switzerland a few weeks ago with my Coinbase card. It did not work because it did not support 3DS. But this one will, even though it's not KYC, it will send like an email confirmation. Hey, is that you trying to make the purchase? You just click yes, and then it lets you in. So in almost every case, if you get this specific one, the swipe card, which is more of a pain to set up, I think they charge a fee on it, whereas Bitrefill doesn't, but it's still like a 3 or 5% fee or something. But if you have that, then everywhere that the few places these Anon cards get declined will not get declined on this one. So it's very important to, especially if you're traveling in the hellscape that is Europe. I did try these out. Mostly the Anon cards in Canada, from my experience, worked. The US ones that worked with the Forex conversion. And there's let me actually just switch to that one real quick, which is
I can attest because I saw you actually use them at the store.
Yes, which is on Piggy Cards, right? Piggycards.com, I believe. Or is it Piggy.cards? Piggy.cards, sorry.
Yeah, Piggy.cards.
Piggy.cards, they have a US Visa e-reward card, which is pretty much just the same as the Bitrefill one, except you don't even need to put a name at all. No name. And it does work with a Forex charge in other countries. So if you travel, that's good. The Bitrefill one will only work in the US. And so that will work almost everywhere. Where there were like 1 or 2 places it did not work in Canada, I think. And then I switched to the swipe one that I got from Zipto, and that one did work. So just so you know, there's some you never know exactly where things will work, but if you just complete anon and then a slightly more paid in the ass but still anon one with still fake stuff, then use that for that as a backup. You can probably avoid a KYC card completely if you use those two together. And so also that I was going to highlight, I have not used this, but Picky Cards does have a Canadian card, a Canadian dollar prepaid anon Visa thing. Have you tried that one out yet, or do you know someone who has yet?
No, but it's definitely on my list to do like as soon as possible because I want to find new ways to actually start spending crypto in Canada again. Since the main one that I used in the past was Bitvo, but they got bought out and they just like removed the card aspect and they just like used it as the exchange and just wanted to absorb the clients. I forgot who bought it, but it was a bigger exchange, just like absorbed it essentially.
Yeah, it's kind of why I got like that's kind of why I got annoyed at ShakePay, because they had a really cool reloadable card, and then they accepted Dash for that, and then they got rid of that, and then they got rid of Dash, and now it's some weird little shake thing. You shake it and you get free money or some nonsense. I didn't look into it, but they're
you don't want to recommend ShakePay because
okay.
The way that they can afford to give away free crypto, because everyone comes to me and they're like, oh, like I got ShakePay because I get free Bitcoin.
Mm-hmm.
And I go, yeah, but are you going to buy anything on there, or are you just getting the free Bitcoin? And they're like, yeah, no, I'm buying stuff too. And I go, okay, well, if you just look at the FAQ, one of the top things is, how do you make your money and give away free Bitcoin? And they say, well, we'll tell you. We charge you more than it costs, and we sell it for or we buy it less than it's worth, and we sell it for more than what it costs. So more so than any other exchange and they state that specifically, and that's how they're able to afford giving away free Bitcoin. So if you're buying $1,000 worth of Bitcoin, $5,000, $10,000 worth of Bitcoin, now you're getting fucked over like maybe $10 to $50 worth of free Bitcoin that you got from shaking it.
It's
so
literally a slot machine.
Yeah, but well, I mean, it's like
they give you some money to make you feel good, and you press the button constantly.
Yeah. So the thing is, it's like, yeah, if you're gonna try to actually like invest, you don't want to do it using this app just because you get free Bitcoin as well. Like, do that on its own and earn your free Bitcoin by shaking it, but don't use the actual app to like that exchange to buy your stuff, because you're getting ripped off. And if anyone's like, oh, what? I have ShakePay. It's like, yeah, just go click on the FAQ and go down to where it says like, how do they make their money? And it tells you plainly, it's like, yeah, we charge extra. So it's definitely not worth it. Like, yeah.
Yeah. How do you make your money? By scamming you.
Yeah.
It's so, have you used Bitcoin Well in a while? I remember them. I've talked to them recently-ish, but yeah.
I haven't used it in a while, but wait, let me bring it up to make sure we're talking about the same thing.
That's the bill pay one /
yes,
exchange.
Yeah. So I used to pay my all my utility bills with this, so it is actually fantastic. It was the only like method that I had to be able to do this that I at least like tested and that worked and like was easy. Yeah, I paid all my bills for like a year. All my utility bills. I did 1 year where I was basically trying to do 100% crypto as much as I could. And so I was using Bitcoin Well, and it was great.
Yeah. But so they still work. There's no reason to like not that, as far as you know, that.
As far as I know, but I haven't used it in a very long time. So things could have changed. I have no idea. But the last time I used it, which was like 3 or 4 years ago, I used it for a full year, every month, payments, quick, on time, no problems.
Yeah. Let me see if they still.
Because I'm just looking at the site, but I don't see a lot around like bill payments.
They changed it out a little bit, but I just saw, it's like there's a pay my bills in Bitcoin item here. So how does it work? Once you add the payee to your Bitcoin Well account, we'll assign a Bitcoin address to that pay. All Bitcoin sent to that Bitcoin address will be automatically converted into dollars and sent to that pay. Pays can include credit cards, power bills, or virtually any bill that you might need to pay. And so One thing I should point out, like Bitcoin Well is Bitcoin only, partially because they're maxis, but also because, from my understanding, at least for what they
You can
told me
still
when I,
use like Bitcoin Cash and stuff, right?
I know, I think it's BTC only.
Oh, because back in the day, I was paying with Bitcoin Cash.
Yeah, and I think I hit them up back in the day for that, but then just nothing ever happened. I did talk to them in the last year, and what they
Right.
told me is, first of all, they're more focused on Bitcoin only, but they also said that Canadian law prevents them from easily supporting other assets because you need a specific like securities brokerage license or something to do non-Bitcoin or Ethereum, basically. And so,
Interesting.
and I think you find a lot of those things in similar situations in Canada as a result. But so basically, I was trying to figure out a way that they could like back end convert to whatever, but it might just be that like the wallets have to do some sort of a conversion. I'm actually working on something with that to try to get the DashPay wallet to be able to like scan a Lightning invoice and pay, and it auto swaps out to Lightning. And so, a Canadian Dasher could use Bitcoin Well to pay all their bills. But
Right.
for everyone else, Zipto, right? So let me just switch the screen there. They have a bill pay function. Now, there's a few different bill pay companies all over the world. Zipto has the biggest coverage. The interesting thing about Zipto is, and it depends on, it's one of the only bill pay systems out there that does not require KYC. Now, their point of view on that is why we don't need KYC because that's already on your bill, right? If you're paying your utility bill, that's already saying who you are, where you live, and all this stuff, so we don't need to. And it's not really, other companies don't necessarily do that. But like also you think about if you're paying your bill and you don't KYC, like how much privacy are you getting? I think you're getting privacy, but like for some people, it might not be worth it. They do have an upcharge on the bill, like I forget a certain percentage at a certain minimum or something like that. So it's not like it's free. Spritz in the U.S. is lower fees and it is a better interface, but they do want you to KYC. And so,
The only thing is,
yeah,
Zipto is not downloadable in Canada, but I think I
is it
think Crimson Clyde said that you can just like VPN and then download it, and then it works, I believe.
is it really not downloadable? Huh.
At
Well,
least, at least, like here. Let me just quickly double check. Well,
yeah, give it a shot. All I know is
yeah, no, it's not. Yeah,
the
but maybe it's as simple as just VPN. I don't know. I'll have to double check that.
it probably is because Zipto itself is a wallet, like a non-custodial wallet, and
Right.
it also has integrations to all these services. But the website has all those services too. So if you can go to Zipto.com, you can access all that stuff, and through any wallet, I guess. I'm not sure. They had some weird thing where their Dash integration was messed up on the website, but not on the phone. I don't know if they fixed that yet, but either way, you could just use it through the phone if you can. But I don't think their bill pay supports Canada specifically anyway, but it's US, Mexico, and like Guatemala, Philippines, India, a bunch of places like that. So,
Oh, so you can't even use it in Canada, anyways.
well, the bill pay doesn't support Canada currently.
Oh, but you can still spend the gift cards and stuff. Okay.
Yes, I don't know if they sell any Canadian dollar denominated ones.
Right.
So probably most Canadians, as far as Zipto is concerned, they should probably just use piggy cards for what they got for now.
Right.
Except the wallet itself is a cool multi-coin wallet, and they have this thing. They sent me one of these. It's a metal NFC card that works as like a 2FA for the card. So what happens? So you have like your full private keys on the device, and then once you assign the card to like back it up, it basically splits the private key between the card and your device. So now no one can actually spend your crypto without the card as well. But it's not a back.
Nice.
It's not like a backup. Like if you lose your phone, you can't get your money back. You still need to do the seed phrase and stuff. So
Right.
it's just like a second thing where if someone steals your phone, they can't do it. And I think that's something that can get some basic people like wrap their head around it pretty well, to do that. Now, Tangem, which I, showed off those cards before, that's an actual like hardware wallet type thing where, where is it? Here we go. This plastic card here, where it's you get a pack of 3 of these. You don't even need a seed phrase if you don't want to. You just use one. If you forget your password, you use 2 together to reset it. And there's always a backup. So it works as like a 2FA to get into your stuff, but also as a backup in case you don't, you're too boomer to write down a seed phrase correctly. So that kind of stuff all works out. So yeah, as far as Zipto, the bill pay system works. I did pay a couple different bills. I tried that out. I tested it out with Spritz. I'm still working on a video that I've been delayed on to sort of demo that stuff. But I guess the big difference is, so if you're an established person who like has bills in your name and a house that's in your name and stuff, you're not really getting a lot in privacy except for like by not KYCing, except that the KYC information then goes to an extra party other than your biller. And so maybe that's one more honeypot to be attacked, kind of. So that's mainly the risk. So it's not a super big privacy improvement, but let's just say you have you're like renting a property, or like, I'm not even sure the kind of things, but basically a thing where you cannot get ID for whatever reason, where you're actually like unbanked. You're not just casually unbanked like me, where I could walk into a bank tomorrow probably and just be right back in, but where you're like for real, but you do need to pay a bill, like such as you're staying at your cousin's house or whatever, and it's in his name and you pay it, or you need to send money back home or pay your mom's medical bills in Mexico or whatever, and you don't have papers yourself, you could still do that. And so there's the thing about Zipto. So Zipto is basically has like everything you need to live on crypto for just about everyone. And because they're kind of like everyone, and they're above and beyond almost everyone as far as like the sheer access, they do charge higher fees. So like, for example, Bitrefill and some other places, you can get like a prepaid card for like at cost, or you reload a reloadable card for not very much, or you even get rewards points if you have a Coinbase card or a Gemini card or something. But you do you have to pay a few extra bucks for their stuff, which it's very par for the course if anyone's ever used unbanked people services, like cash only services at like Walmart Money Center to like cash a check or pay a bill or something like that. It's always the same. There's always a fee associated with dealing with the unbanked, which, again, it's another reason why the banking system's a scam, But anyway, that's kind of the big overview. The one other thing, which there's some spending features coming into the Dash Pay app that are live now, but it's like a widget that's getting more things in, and it's starting with, US coverage, but it will expand to others. So if you go into the main like Dash wallet, and I'll show the little screenshot thing as well, and you click on the little compass, the explore button there. And there we go. And then there's a where to spend. Let me just see if I could do that. And then there you go. And my map is disabled because I have that de-Googled phone. But the map has like all the Dash icon ones are ones that accept Dash directly. But then these other gift card ones are an instant gift card. So it's basically a much more streamlined like Bitrefill thing. If you can look at some of these discounts, it's like 5 to like 11% or whatever, like some decent discounts on some places. And so that's going to be very huge. Piggy Cards is getting into the actual wallet itself. The actual Dash Spend feature. So their same things will be right in that wallet as well. And I don't know if it's a big secret, but it hasn't been officially announced. Getting Flexa support at some point. And Flexa is something that's been hugely hyped in the US, I should say, especially in like the Zcash community, because one of the actual things you can use to spend Zcash, where basically you go to a series of merchants and then you just say, can I pay with Flexa? Or you could say gift card, doesn't matter. And then you just turn around your phone and they scan the barcode on your phone and it just auto pays like that. So it's like a smoother version of that. And you can do it from a non-custodial wallet, which is great. So that's kind of like the big overview of like the spending tools that are coming out. As I mentioned, I really am looking forward to. I'm working on getting like an instant Dash to Lightning thing in Dash Pay because Steak and Shake in all its several hundred locations in the U.S., except Bitcoin via Lightning Network right now. I don't know if they've rolled out to all of them yet, but they're in the process of it. And Square, Jack Dorsey's company, the Square point of sale system, is also adding Lightning payments over the next 6 to 9 months or something. I don't know if it's only in the U.S. or if it's worldwide at the 4 million merchants they support or whatever. But either way, being able to just pay everywhere right from one app, I think it would be really cool. So that's kind of the high level, the state of the union of the spending stuff for crypto.
Yeah. I mean, you're not going to get a more comprehensive breakdown than that.
Mm-hmm. Have you tried Gnosis Pay, by the way? I've heard people talk about that one.
No, I haven't heard about that one yet.
Interesting. Let me see. I have not used it yet. Maybe I'll just if someone's watching this and has used this, feel free to jump in and try it out. Let me. It's GNOSISPay.com, and supposedly it's like a prepaid card thingy, but it's not a prepaid card. It's like a self-custodial Visa debit card where basically you get to hold all your balance and keys you control and then pay from that. It is a KYC one, it does appear, but it seems like a non-custodial KYC. So I guess instead of like say with a Coinbase card where you throw some money onto Coinbase so it's ready to be spent, like just so you have a little bit ahead of time, this you don't have to have any on there at all. It just auto does it for the exact amount from your self-custody, which is interesting. I don't know how they do that exactly. I haven't looked into that, but I've heard of a few versions of something like that. Like, for example, Tangem Pay. So Tangem is supposedly coming up with an actual payment card that would also take from your self-custody directly, and you don't have to actually give up custody to use a card. I'm seeing things move in that direction where there's a lot of stable coins, and then there's a lot of people doing stuff like that where it's like a crypto card that goes like hardware wallet to spend kind of thing. But yeah, so just everyone always mentions Gnosis Pay, but I don't know anyone who actually uses it. So
fair, just like XRP.
Yes, except I think I do know people that use it, kind of thing, as opposed to
hearsay. Can you spend XRP anywhere? Like, does anywhere accept it? Bitrefill, anything?
Definitely not Bitrefill. I think there are some places that do, like maybe Picky Cards does. I don't know. Some of these websites that do like take every crypto under the sun, like because it's up there, they will take it. But as far as like payment volume,
it's funny because people are like, well, I hold XRP because it's so useful and it's like banks use it. And I go, oh, wow. So like you can do remittances with XRP? And they go, well, no, because they would still have to like get it in XRP, and then it would be no different from any other crypto where they have to then switch it to money anyways. And I go, okay, so it's just like any other crypto in that sense. Do you use it for buying things? Like, it's like, no, nowhere accepts it. I can't spend it anywhere. And I go, how do you know banks use this? Like, have you ever done anything that would make that true? Like, what do you like? When have you ever actually done anything with XRP? And they're like, well, I just invest in it. And it's like, okay, now we're being honest. It's like that meme. It's like, be honest, yes. Be honest. There you go. It's like,
yeah. It's I made some spicy post a while back about crypto is a store of narrative or store of vibes that like people buy heavily into that. So, oh, this is the thing, and it's like, does it work for that? Well, I don't know, but yeah, it's the thing. And like, okay. And
it's so disappointing when people are like, oh yeah, this is just so good. And I go, have you ever used it? Have you done anything with it? Like, have you tested any of the things that you're saying are so great about it have ever actually been true? Or like, You know, it's like, no, all right. I mean, I guess that's no different from a stock, but in this instance, you can actually test it, right? Like,
Hmm.
I could invest in some random company and I can't like, I mean, you could use their product and know if it sucks or not, but like, I
Hmm.
can't like, test out the claims of their like technology without like, having intricate knowledge. Like, if
Hmm.
some new phone came out and they said we're unhackable, you could
I
kind
can't
of
hack it.
test that, but at the same time, it's like, yeah, I can't hack the phone, so I couldn't actually tell you. But if it says like, this is for interbank transfers, it's like, okay, let's transfer it to a bank in a different country to see if I can do remittances or whatever. Like, it's like, actually try and see if that's true. It's not that hard to do in crypto because it's all online anyway. So you could just do it from your bedroom if you wanted. Like, there's nothing stopping you from testing this stuff out. You know.
Yeah, it's funny because like a lot of things you like there's established companies. There are like audits and reports and other things like that. There's a lot of data that's on like a real company, I should say. But crypto, it's much less so, but it's also that you can use it yourself. And just about like, I still cannot find out how to get on Farcaster. Like, I still haven't figured out on there because usually, if it's like a blockchain thing, okay, well, you can get some gas fee and whatever, and but I still can't figure out how to do that part. And then every
Right.
time I try to do the email sign up or whatever, I never get the email, and I'm just like, so
Yeah.
as far as I know, it sucks. And then people are super bullish on like some people, I should say, limited quantities of people are bullish on Noster. And I don't know if you ever used Noster, but
It's not very intuitive. I've used it, but it's yeah.
yes, it's like a more annoying memo.cache kind of. And like,
Yeah, which was
which
already yeah.
already a potato. But like if you say like, oh my gosh, it's gonna be the future. Everyone's gonna use stuff based on this. I'm just like, well, this is raw
Yeah.
like resources, and I don't really like their model doesn't work super well. But like, and is there anything cool built on it? Like, nah, but what? Like, what's making you bullish on this?
That's almost every project though. They're like, this is the new Ethereum. And I go, wow, like so like what's built on it that's like new and different than Ethereum? And they go, we've got dexes. And I go, yeah, like every Ethereum like alternative has dexes. And they go, we've got DeFi. And I go, yeah, all of them have DeFi. What? And they go, we have staking. And it's like, yes, all of them have this thing. Like, what are you doing that is different? And they go, well, we don't have anything new. And it's like, yeah, I didn't think you did. Like the only time you sometimes like, I'll give it that. I think Cosmos has a lot of like interesting things like Thor swap and stuff like that. Like, there's actual like interesting, innovative things that are built on like Cosmos.
Hmm.
So like I'll say like that's a legit one. But if I go and look at like Solana, there is nothing like innovative on Solana that doesn't exist already somewhere else that they're just trying to be like
Yes.
cheaper
Now,
cheaper gas. Like,
I will steal and strawman sort of.
okay.
Solana, Tron, and Multiverse X. So, and I have not done deep research into any of these as far as like the deep fundamentals. So that should be that should be the big disclaimer. People I know who are much smarter than me seem to say a lot of very positive things about Solana's base technology. Now I know they went down a bunch of times. They had some centralization things, but like they have put tons of transactions on the blockchain that are legit, even though most of them aren't legit.
Even though they're all vote transactions.
Yes, even the vote, even excluding that, the legit number of transactions they have is
Yes.
pretty good. So,
Yeah.
like, there's some, as far as like a virtual machine network, there is merit to like the base of it. Now, as far as like what has Solana done anything unique? No, kind of the
Because
same.
I was just gonna say, like, you're also describing
Yes,
Tron.
yes.
Yeah.
Now, what Solana has done better than anyone is get total paying customer revenue more than just about everyone. It depends on the season, though, of course, because a lot of there's been like meme coins. Like, it's not that no one's done a meme coin before; it's just they've done it better than anyone. Anyone can make a meme coin, get it really going really quick. Anyone can do like a swap on a Phantom Dex in just a couple seconds. Anyone can do all this kind of stuff, and so they've done all that volume. I've heard reports that a lot of this is like dropping off now, but I haven't looked into that, so don't quote me on that. Now, Tron sounds like because Solana is new tech. It's not the same tech as Ethereum. It's a different blockchain, different stuff. Tron, from my understanding, is basically a copy-paste style kind of an EVM type thing, from my understanding.
Yeah, their only real like major difference is you can stake the Tron to pay for gas for like free if it's staked. To a certain amount. Like you have to stake more to be able to do more with, you know what I mean? Like if you just stake $1 worth of Tron, you're not getting a free, transaction. But if you stake $1,000 worth of Tron, you could maybe do like 2-3 free transactions per day without having to spend gas. That is kind of cool and useful.
Yes, it's also the same as staking and getting staking rewards, which you can then pay for gas fees with. But it's all the same.
Well, you earn staking rewards too on Tron. Okay. So you can earn rewards and get free transactions. So I'll give them that is actually pretty cool and useful. The problem is that ever since they introduced their algorithmic stablecoin, it's completely taken over the volume, and it like 10x their gas fees. So it's not really that ideal anymore. And they have NFTs or something now. I don't know, but they've completely destroyed their model of being like cheap gas, essentially.
Yeah, which is sad because that's kind of the entire reason that they got popular. But the difference is like Tron has been very good at selling and like finding successful projects, trying to buy them, like trying to buy out Steam
and then destroying them.
Yeah, well that sucked. But like as far as like, I think they found their niche in Tether, and as far as Tether for payments, for smaller payments in the developing world, and have really done well at that. And that's something that every crypto project could figure out: product market fit and actually sell. And so I mean, and I would say it's not even a good product market fit, because I've had people complaining about fees on USDT. This is before they went up recently. Like it was before, like, oh, it's 60 cents to send which is not that bad, but it's still not that good. And then also complaining about gas fees. And so I know that there are a lot of networks or otherwise apps or protocols that manage to obscure gas fees from the end user. There's a function in the new Dash token system that's coming out in like a week or so that lets the contract owner pay for gas fees and charge in the native token. So you could do a stable coin on Dash that doesn't have to have Dash hanging around for gas. And so that would be something that Tron could use, for example. But then we go to, again, Multiverse X, which I have not researched in depth. I know people, the nerds that I know and trust, tend to really appreciate the scaling tech that they have through the execution sharding and a bunch of other things. Like, oh man, though they're like technically the most advanced blockchain in crypto right now, or something like that. I've heard that kind of thing being said. And then I saw someone complaining about like the price and stuff, which, again, welcome to crypto. That's all people do. And so I did some very cursory research into some of the apps that they have. And it's just as you said, the kind of stuff like that's already on Ethereum, but kind of like a shitty version to be like, no, we do it too. And it's like, okay, well, Ethereum might be, expensive and complicated and not nearly able to scale to these thousands of transactions per second like this. But how does this show up to the end user? It doesn't. Like, it just, the price maybe, but like, how would I could use Arbitrum and be more fulfilled than using Multiverse X in a lot of ways, because a lot of the same things, Arbitrum has more things on it and works about the same, and so far hasn't rugged, even though it could, kind of. So it's kind of like you build this like incredible, it kind of reminds me a little bit of like the Decred folks, because Decred's done some interesting things in like governance and the hybrid proof of work, proof of stake model and some other things. But at the end of the day, what do you do with Decred? It's like, can I spend it anywhere? Like literally nowhere, basically. And they created something called the Bison Relay, which is kind of like a like an atomic DEX built into a Noster style relay that has like a built-in Lightning node or Decred Lightning, right? That for like microtransaction stuff. It's kind of an interesting little package. But before that, there was not really a need to have the network, even though I feel like a lot of times people forget that you can't just build infrastructure if there's no customers for that infrastructure. And, or if you can, like, again, Solana, like Tron, I kind of feel like was like a copy paste trying to get clout. And after that started to wear off, then they got to selling. I kind of feel like Solana got to selling right out the gate. Like,
and you can't forget, Justin Sun also bought DLive, which was originally on Steam, and then they destroyed that as well. Basically, everything that he bought, he tanked, which is pretty wild.
Yeah, and so
they had PewDiePie as an exclusive streamer for like a month on there.
Just so wild. You get, like that level, you get like
literally the top streamer in the world came and exclusively streamed on their platform, obviously paid, and then he left, and then the whole thing just tanked.
Yeah, which goes back to what I said about the kings of selling. Justin Sun knows how to sell because, like, well, he knows how to buy, like buying the banana thing, buying Steam, buying DLive, pitching PewDiePie, saying, "Hey, be exclusive here." Like that's a giant accomplishment. But then just
sell but not profit.
Yeah, although I would say with Tether, it's finally been like the sell and profit together. You finally got it together.
Finally,
yeah. And so just like I think that no one has really done a better job than Monero in selling the kind of cypherpunk ideal as far as like, you know, permissionless money type thing, like the hardcore cypherpunk values. And that's why a lot of, you know, ex Bitcoin maxis go right there. They just go lateral move across. But actually people, like you look at transaction numbers, there's been an increase. It's working. And then like Litecoin's done not too bad with all that. And I think that we're getting into the selling era of crypto, right? Where you're going to need to sell to an actual user. You're going to need to actually convert it to people. And pretty soon, like your network sucks part is just not going to fly anymore, because if you sell like Tether users and if you get an overwhelming market share, okay, but then it's a fragile overwhelming market share, because then you flip it to someone else that has a reliable instant network that doesn't have the gas fee problem. You don't need gas on hand. It doesn't have like the high fee problem and the whatever general shadiness of the Tron network. And then now they don't have to leave. Whereas with Tron, they were using because that's what was there. But then, and so eventually, I think more projects will die from bad selling than from bad tech. But if you have one or the other, it's just gonna not be curtains for you in the next 5 years. That's a general prediction.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, it's we're in a pretty interesting time, and it is weird to say like we're entering the selling era of crypto, since everyone's been trying to sell their crypto to everyone forever. But yeah, I mean that does feel accurate to say.
Yeah, the use or die kind of era, right? A lot more dying than using, I'm sure.
Yeah. By the way, I do need to jump in like 5 minutes.
Yeah, well,
I apologize for the late notice. But
well, we're kind of like petering out right at the end anyway, so it's probably good timing of this. What do you have to shill? It's shill o'clock, a little bit early today.
Normally I would be shilling my show and stuff, but today I guess I'll shill Kudos, which is I work with them. They do. They offer Web3, permissionless, no KYC, all the good stuff, private networks for cloud computing. So developers or people want to run nodes or whatever it might be, you can just, connect with your wallet and pay in crypto and 100% anonymous. And, it's easy, it's simple, and it's fairly cheap compared to a lot of competitors. So yeah, that's my shout out. Oh, and actually 2 days ago, they got mentioned by Jensen Huang, in his keynote speech at GTC Paris.
Wow.
So that was pretty sweet to see, right up on the stage. Like it was like, our compute providers in Europe, and there's kudos.
Perfect. And it's apparently selling then, right? Like actually
Yes, yes,
getting
yeah,
real
a lot.
users.
Yes, yes, and I mean, a lot of it is private clusters, a lot of the big money, but definitely a lot of people are deploying and running their stuff on there. And you can launch a private network, so people who want to go 100% private, it's there for you. And yeah, we don't take any information. We don't have an email. There's nothing. It's just you just connect and go.
Nice. Yeah, the way things should be. It definitely is
Yeah,
time to migrate away from all that AWS type stuff anyway. But
yeah.
yeah. Well, fantastic for being on. We'll, try out all those card thingies wherever you can, all the other spending solutions. I'm still, of course, working at trying to get one good, relatively reliable crypto directory for like raw dog in the crypto, right? Sending it actually, like not having to go through any kind of intermediary system. So
Yeah.
definitely that's something that I think will maybe be last to go. But in the meantime, get out there and start learning how to spend your crypto, because at some point very soon, it'll be everywhere. The next 3-4 years, I think that we're going to be early
Yeah,
mass
banks
adoption.
banks are going to have Bitcoin and stuff, but you're not going to want to use that because it'll be like they'll hold it.
Yep. Learn your sovereignty before it's too late. Figure it
Yeah.
out on your own, or hit me up. Thanks everyone for watching. This has been Digital Cash Rundown, episode 193, sponsored by Coin Team Radar. Lovely folks over there. And this has been Scott Cunningham, aka Scott C. Business, joining us. Thanks everyone. Have a great weekend. Bye bye.